Very hard, very easy for you to do. Num num. Oh man, told you I wasn't losing my hair. I need to get a haircut. Holy hell! And this thing is an ingrown hair that just won't fucking die. That's what that is. What's up, America? Well, hey, Chapel Roan, Hotttogo. We'll get a security guard on a little kid. What's up, America? How you guys doing? Chapel Roan security guard um, is apparently a shamey ass. Oh, 3 gummies. Very nice. That's very good. Nice start to the evening. I got to get on my gummy situation too. What's up, America? How's everybody doing? How's everybody loving Chapel Roan? Are you Hotttogo? What's up, Marine? How you doing? Can you take me hot to go? Well, that's some of the news that we'll get into. Maybe they're over-exaggerating. What's up to Roma? What's up, America? How's everybody doing? Ziggy, everybody, how you doing? Hopefully people aren't overreacting about Chapel Roan's security guard coming up and making threatening gestures to an 11-year-old daughter of Jude Law, but that is apparently what's going on. I used to play Chapel Roan music during my live streams on TikTok, but apparently the news, and I'll just get to that particular case before I get into what's up, Woodsman? Before I get into the other news, is that Chapel Roan's security guard acted basically threatened an 11-year-old kid. So the story goes that Chapel Roan was staying at the same hotel as Jude Law's daughter. What's up, Nana? Which is apparently a Brazilian soccer player's stepdaughter because he's fucking Jude Law's ex, okay? So Jude Law and this woman have a kid together, and this guy was with the kid because that's the stepdaughter. Nevertheless, by circumstance, they were staying at the same hotel. So I guess they were eating dinner or lunch, whatever the fuck it was, and they were sitting there, and the little kid recognized Chapel Roan across the hall or the room or whatever. So the little 11-year-old kid got up and passed near the table, confirming that that was indeed Chapel Roan, to the point where she came back and was like, oh, it's Chapel Roan, yay! And then about 5 minutes after that happened, the security guard for Chapel Roan walked up to the 11-year-old and said, how dare you harass and stalk our artists, and then wanted to file a complaint with the hotel, and then also made some threatening gestures towards the 11-year-old. So now all over social media is erupting with memes of pretending to be Chapel Roan kicking and punching little kids and screaming at them, and it is actually hilarious. This just came out a couple hours ago. Then you have people out there saying, well, it doesn't really matter. Even if she, ate a child or whatever it was, I'm still listening to Chapel Roan. So, oh yeah, hell yeah, I did, Woodsman. I'll tell you what, man, that was good stuff. And so I want to know what you guys think about Chapel Roan and all that horse shit cock and bull, because that's apparently what's going on. Do you think her music outdid her behavior? Do you think it was the security guard's behavior that was a problem, or what have you? Let me know in the comments. I want to thank MAGA for $4 a gallon. Actually, you're not there yet. You haven't gotten to $6 a gallon. We'll get into that speculation news coming up here. But that's what we're dealing with the Chapel Roan news. Not a big story, but it is a Saturday, and so news is slight. Now, we do have some news about the TSA shutdown at airports. First of all, plane tickets are double the price, but now Donald Trump is threatening to place ICE agents in airports because there's no TSA agents showing up. So if you're unaware, Homeland Security has not been funded because of a Democrat and Republican dick polling contest over in Congress or in the Senate, where they're pulling on each other's dicks and whichever one squirts the most, I guess that's who wins. Nevertheless, apparently Donald Trump is now saying that they want to place ICE agents in airports if Democrats don't agree to fund DHS. Now, I'm not exactly sure how that will do anything because I still think that you have to have the money to pay ICE agents, which if I recall, they're not getting a budget from this either, but you'll have to check on that because I'd have to, and we'll have to see what happens with that. So Donald Trump says that they will do security like no one has ever done before. President Donald Trump threatens to place U.S. ICE agents in airports if Democrats do not agree to fund the Department of Homeland Security, says the Trump's post on Truth Social, apparently. Instead of reading the news, I'll just read exactly what Trump's post on Truth Social says. So let's read this together. Donald Trump's post on Truth Social says, quote, if the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they will do security like no one has ever seen before, including the immediate arrest of illegal aliens who have come into the country, with heavy emphasis on those from Somalia. Holy shit. Who have totally destroyed with the approval of a corrupt governor, attorney general, and congresswoman like Ilhan Omar in the once great state of Minnesota. I look forward to seeing ICE in action at our airports. Make America great again, President Donald J. Trump. So that's basically the exact verbatim that he spoke on Truth Social. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you the news, fuckfaces. Remember that. Anyway, so that's what we have going on with that. President Donald Trump is threatening to place ICE agents if the Democrats do not agree to fund the Department of Homeland Security. And we read that post is pretty self-explanatory. What's up, Meep? How you doing? Notice he didn't say trained. Oh, man. So that is the post on Donald Trump's Truth Social. Elon Musk offers to cover the pay of TSA agents as shutdown drags on. Of course, that will just make Democrats not come to an agreement because they'll be taking all the money away from Elon Musk, it sounds. Donald Trump then, okay, so how do I put this? Robert Mueller died today. If you guys remember who Robert Mueller was the guy that was the head of the special counsel on the Russia collusion trial, headed up by now Senator, then Congressman Adam Schiff. So Robert Mueller died at the age of 81. What's up, Toronto? Robert Mueller died today at the age of 81, and Donald Trump says, quote, good, I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. Now, Robert Mueller was 81, so this has prompted some people, particularly on Twitter, to say that Robert Mueller was murdered by Donald Trump in retaliation, to which people that have an actual brain say he was 81. People's life expectancy average is between 74 and 77. Therefore, more than likely, it was old age, not a fucking conspiracy theory. Nevertheless, that doesn't stop stupid people from talking on Twitter. So, whatever it is. We now have, and I don't know, whatever your thoughts or prayers on this are, let me know in the comments. Over 20 nations are now announcing readiness to open the Straits of Hormuz. I saw this earlier in a joint statement released on Saturday morning. The nations of Australia, Bahrain, Canada, so Canada's involved, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Latvia, Lithuania, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Republic of Korea, Romania, Slovenia, Sweden, UAE, and the United Kingdom condemn in the strongest terms the recent attacks by Iran against unarmed civilians and shipping in the Straits of Hormuz, its attacks on oil and gas infrastructure throughout the Gulf, and its move to shut down traffic in the Straits of Hormuz. So it looks like those nations I just mentioned are condemning Iran and trying to possibly get involved with this war. Now, that happened after Iran attacked the base at Diego Garcia, which is an island system in the Indian Ocean that the United States and Great Britain used to conduct airstrikes against targets in the Persian Gulf or Middle East and Southeast Asia. So Diego Garcia, which was thought to be beyond the range of Iranian capabilities, had missiles come in that had to be destroyed before they hit Diego Garcia. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Darth. Hell yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, man, they have been... what is it?
Not Darth.
Not Darth. Dan the man. Yes, you're awesome. So that's prompting some people to believe that Iran has hidden weapons that we weren't aware of. And now they're saying cities like Rome, Bucharest, or even Berlin could be hit by Iranian missiles. So far, we haven't seen any of that. More than likely because of the fact that they don't want a massive war against us. ChatGPT is warning Republican fundraisers that links are unsafe and Democrat links are fine. So we're starting to get some bias politically when it comes to ChatGPT. And in another stunning revelation, waves of unauthorized drones have been over U.S. Air Force bases in the island away from Iran. How many kilometers? Well, let me see here. It's at least 1,200. Let's find out. Maybe further than that. Let me find out here because I had a map up earlier. All right, so it's 4,000. Okay. So what we're seeing here, and this is what's fucked up, is Iran's publicly speaking, Iran's longest ranged missile is the SEJJIL, which goes 2,000 to 2,500 kilometers. Okay, so the range on that particular weapon is over Warsaw, Poland, Bari, Italy, and the southern tip of India. So Diego Garcia is approximately twice as far as that particular missile can go. Actually, Iran has two missiles, which is the EMAD and the SEJJIL missiles. Both of those have a range of 2,000 to 2,500 kilometers, respectively. However, this, if they say, is double the range, this now puts Iran's ballistic missile capabilities as far south as Kenya, as far west as eastern France, and as far east as central China. So, and Sri Lanka. Also Diego Garcia. It could be obviously that Diego Garcia was attacked and obviously it didn't hit because it was not on a proper trajectory, because it was overextending the possibility of its own range. Just because a missile has a range of 2,500 kilometers doesn't mean it can only go 2,500 kilometers. What that particularly means is that it's possible to extend it through height, through speed, things like that. However, they're saying that this particular missile, grazie, bello grazie. They're saying that this particular, quote, unknown missile, this unknown missile, is right now over 80 wounded. I saw some of that right now, and I'm just getting on that. At the end of this stream, I'll show that footage. These missiles that they're talking about that are, quote, unknown, that went to the point of Diego Garcia, have the capability to attack England, Paris, all of the Nordic nations, all the way down to the Central African Republic, and as far east as Bangkok, giggity Thailand, and eastern China. So if that's the particular case, we have a whole new ball game on our hands here. Now, that doesn't mean that they have a lot of them. It just means that there are have the capabilities. Now, The IRGC has now reported that they have the capabilities to hit England, obviously. Iran, now listen to this. Iran has shifted from striking major cities. Yes, they can hit Romania. I'm just an independent commentator, so please don't label me one way or another. Iran has shifted from striking major cities to hitting smaller ones. None of these towns have intercepted a single missile. The Iranians found out that anti-missile systems have to be moved. The city of Arad, Israel, has been attacked by Iranian missiles, several wounded. Possible. This is what the 12 kilometers of the Dimona Nuclear Research Center in southern Israel. That's how close this was. As Iran has launched hypersonic missiles at the smaller cities in Israel. The U.S. Army could intercept it using THAAD and Arrow systems. As a result, they've now reported in Israel that over 100 people have been injured or killed in the town of Arad. Is that what that is? In Arad, Israel. So you are correct on here. As a result, it's been reported Israel has 100 people injured or killed. Buildings have been destroyed and tens of people are still trapped in the rubble. So that's going on right now in Arad, Israel. I'll have to make a video about that on TikTok coming up here. And it's showing that a rain of missiles from Iran have all over Israel tonight. Interceptors no longer work, and Israel's facing the greatest threat to its existence from Iranians as rockets are attacking multiple points in Israel. Now, to be fair, this, depending on what type of damage is being done to Israel at the time, and these are just moments ago that I'm looking at the videos, this could prompt the potential for the use of a strategic nuclear weapon against Iran. I have heard a couple of people, most of them liberal in nature, talking about the possible use of a tactical nuclear weapon by the Israelis against the Iranians. Whether it's warranted or not, it doesn't seem to matter because your voice has no power. I really want to, not nukes. I really want to make it very clear to everybody out there when it comes to this war with Iran. It does not matter if you are against the war or not. It does not matter. They have declared you an enemy, okay? So it doesn't matter if you march in the streets for the Iranian government. It does not matter if you are in Western Europe or if you are in the United States or Canada. The Islamic Republic, Iran, IRGC, etc., have declared you an enemy. You are an open target. And you can say, well, hold on a second. I don't support this shit. I don't want to go to war, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. The very proximity of where you are makes you an enemy. That's just how it works. Now, you may not think that. You may not think that in your mind. You might think, well, I'm an ally, or I'm neutral. I don't want to fight Iran, whatever. It matters not. It doesn't matter if you're neutral or not. They've chosen you as the enemy because this war started against them. So if they have to kill civilians, that's what they're going to do. And the Iranian government has already said and made it clear just last night that they will. Do I look like I could start a war? Do I look like I'm in fucking power? I'm just a guy on the internet. I'm not Donald Trump. If you have a problem, go fucking to the whitehouse.gov and leave a comment or some type of situation. Letters and phone calls do wonders. I'm not Donald Trump, so don't yell at me. Nevertheless, what do you do about the situation? Well, the only thing you can do is take the shit. Take the dick. That's all you can get. So if there are sleeper cell attacks here in the United States where innocent people get murdered at a grocery store, for instance, and you say, but wait a minute, I fought for Iran. I hate Trump. They'll still blow your brains out. It's irrelevant if you hate Trump. They don't care. In the heat of battle, it's irrelevant. I got stuff. You see what I'm saying? So when you say, well, it's just because you're there. Well, I don't want that to be. It doesn't matter what you want. It's the realities. what you want versus the realities of the situation are in, are two different things. You could say, I don't want a war with Iran. I want peace, blah, blah, blah. That's wonderful. But we're in this room right now. And so when the Iranian government says it's time to kill you people, and you say, but wait, I supported you, they'll say, I don't fucking care. And you'll be lined up against the wall. Yeah, I know. I have a hair right here that I haven't trimmed, and I need to trim it, and it's itching when I start making noises. If you really want me to itch, you can go I can get my didgeridoo out, and then I haven't shaved, and then goddamn, it is rough. But anyway, Iranian missiles are striking the cities of Arad, Dimona, Israel, leaving dozens dead, more than 100 injured. Military escalation heightens the risk of conflict, expansion, and uncertainty about global energy markets. Now, if this was going to wind down, if this war was going to wind down at some point, I would say that there's going to be peace. But clearly, Iran is ramping up attacks into Israel. The United States can absorb whatever we have here because we're not technically there as far as living in the area and having territorial gains in the region. Israel, on the other hand, will be directly assaulted by Iran, and I will put those videos up here on TikTok after it's over because, yes, it is being confirmed that around 100 people have either been injured or killed by hypersonic missile attacks in Israel. So keep your eyes peeled for that because, Jesus Christ, this will obviously go into a higher part of the war. Because that's what Israel does. And if you don't believe it, I don't give a shit. Man, that tastes like a fucking blunt. Is that hash in there or is that the other one? That's the Pineapple Express. Mm-hmm. It tastes like a fucking blunt. It's like a backwoods. There'll never be peace in the Bible. That's correct. Who is his replacement? If Trump is gone, it's going to be J.D. Vance. And if he's gone, is it Mike Johnson? Mm-hmm. Is that what it is? Yeah. So, whatever's clever. So after all that shit that I just told you, Donald Trump has now issued a furious threat against the Iranians, saying, open the Straits of Hormuz within the next couple of hours. What's up, Katie Woods? Or America will obliterate Iran's power plants. Saying they already have key targets inside. I need to upload videos on here. I've been up really late at night. President Donald Trump has issued a stark and escalating ultimatum to Iran tonight, warning that the United States will destroy the power infrastructure of Iran within hours unless the global oil shipping route, the Straits of Hormuz, is opened immediately within the next 3 hours. In a dramatic post on Truth Social, Trump demanded action on the strategically vital Straits of Hormuz, a narrow waterway through which roughly 1/5 of the world's oil is coming from. Donald Trump faces increasing pressure to secure the straits as Iran's threats have effectively shut down the shipping lane. Now, no matter what you say, what's up, Canada? Canada for ostriches. Those poor ostriches. So, no matter what happens, Donald Trump has until the midterm elections to do this. I would say yes, because Israel wants to nuke Iran. They already wanted to use a tactical nuclear weapon on Iran, but the attacking of 100 people or killing of maybe 100 Israelis just now might send that nuke over. Now, Donald Trump, the United States military has the capability of taking the Straits of Hormuz, but should we? That's the question. The United States military has the capability of going into Iran, taking the nation over, occupying and securing from insurgents, going and fighting horrible mountain battles like in Afghanistan, and protecting the civilians up to the point where we leave. But there is no way it's a good idea to do that. You see what I'm saying? So the Straits of Hormuz could be easily secured. How many men are you willing to lose? That's the question. So if you say we're going to send in 8,500 Marines to the corresponding 5 islands in the southern part of Iran to secure the gas fields and stop rocket fire. Okay, you'll surely take those islands. It's not a question of if, but when. I would believe you would lose anywhere between 10 and 50 Marines fighting that. Now, why is that? Because of things like surprise elements you didn't figure, ambushes, what's up, America? Certain things that were not 100% possible existed, lack of overwatch. Now, why is that? Well, because they have the upper hand, obviously, when it comes to invading any type of fortified position. Doesn't mean they're going to win. They'll all fucking die, but they may get the drop on a couple of people and cause some casualties. I saw that F-35. I'm still trying to prove if that's real or not, because I saw it more than once, but I would like to see the wreckage. But nevertheless, look at Iraq. Iraq had the 3rd largest military in the world. We were able to invade it twice, actually. The second time taking it over, kill Saddam Hussein, but it was wrought with insurgency. And that's going to be happening here in Iran more than likely. Now, of course, do you want to go into Iran? That's the question. Or do you want them to forcibly leave? Now, you say to yourself, well, if we use enough naval and military power without boots on the ground, the military of Iran will be destroyed and the people will rise up. But the people of Iran are in fear and will not rise up against the regime. Because of that, even if we take out the entire military and IRGC without a popular backing from the people, which, by the way, we will, it was an antique army. But I will say that the people in Iran are more favorable to Israel, to America, than they are to Iraqis were to America. All right? So the Iranian people would more than likely back America initially over the same way the Iraqis would back America. You see what I'm saying? So there's simply more support in Iran. Maybe not a terrible bit more, but some. The problem is, and some of you aren't going to like this, the Iranian Persians are not thrilled with the Israelis. All right? And you say, well, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. The Americans or the Israelis, for instance, a little while ago, if you remember, when a couple of American fighters were shot down by friendly fire, the American pilots came down, and it was either Qatar or Bahrain. I'm not exactly sure. But they grabbed metal and pipes, and they were like, you Israeli? And they were about to kill him. And they was like, no, I'm American. I'm American. And they were like, oh. And they put the weapons down. And you say, well, hold on a second. The Israelis and the Americans are fighting with each other against Iran. Wonderful. But the Bahrainis, the Qataris, the Gulf, they don't like Israelis, right? That's why those men were about to kill that pilot. But then when he said, no, I'm an American, they put the metal down and said, oh, we don't want to kill you. You're not Israeli. And you're like, really? It's like that? It's like, yes, it's like that. And you're like, oh. Well, fuck, okay. And you're like, yes, so our allies are not necessarily the friends of the nation. Do you understand what we're saying? So the enemy of my enemy is a friend. So Iran was our enemy, okay? Yeah, look up the video. He's sitting there like, Israeli? And he's like, no, I'm American. I'm American. And he's sitting there like this, Israeli? And he's about to hit him. And he's like, no, I'm American. And they're like, oh, and they put the weapons down. You okay? You shake his hand. And they went from almost beating the shit out of him to fucking, yeah. And I was like, wow. I was like, that is raw shit. But the adage is the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So our enemy was Iran. Well, why is that? Because Iran was against the interests of the United States in two strategic locations, the Straits of Hormuz and the Red Sea. The choke point of the Red Sea is being held by Houthi rebels in Yemen, which are backed by Iran and the IRGC, and Iran controls the Straits of Hormuz. Yeah, Iran never did anything to me. This is an energy resource fight initially. So the big issue was what's up, Ruthie? Was a third party protection. So this is where this all starts. Let me take you back to 1975. The Shah of Iran was still in charge, but there was dissension against the Shah, which was seen as potentially corrupt and had leanings with Western countries that didn't hold the values of a rising Islamic religion and Persian former empire state. What's up, America? What's up, Astra? So, in 1977, 78, you started having a mix of Islamic and quasi-communist uprisings in Iran, which eventually led to going after, he was brutal, exactly, which led to going after Americans in the embassy in 1979. So you ask yourself, why did the Islamic IRGC, the Revolutionary Corps, turn such against the United States? Why? Why would they do that? Obviously, the Shah of Iran was backed by the United States. But there's evidence that the United States had the CIA come into Iran to try to fuck with it. All right? Fuck with it. Leading from the embassy. The Iranian people, backed by then coming back to power Ayatollah Khomeini, led a popular uprising. Oh, dude, it's concentrated in the weed. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, the communists were helping the uprising with the Islamic government that was being installed into power. In 1979, they started leading the fact that America, right? America was behind the Shah of Iran's power, the rebellion against the popular uprising. So the people turned against the Americans, obviously, because they saw them as what? An existential threat. So the Iranian people and the government of Iran and their forces that were uprising went into fucking the embassy of Iran, of American embassy, and took these people hostage for 444 days. Now, those people would not have been... No, I've been smoking weed for years. This is just concentrate. So Jimmy Carter was president. Now, those men that were taken prisoner for 444 days in 1979 would have been released earlier. But Jimmy Carter tried a failed military attack to rescue them in Tehran. Our men were shot up, the helicopters were destroyed, and we lost lives. It was a failed rescue. So the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and the Ayatollah Khomeini kept our prisoners until just after Jimmy Carter was out of office. So Ronald Reagan had won. What's up, America? What's up, Rockstar? So Ronald Reagan had won the election, and as soon as he won, a negotiation for prisoner release was made. That because they were sticking it to Jimmy Carter for the CIA involvement, the reduction of all this other shit. However, the communists that were trying to lead a social revolution in Iran, after the Iranian government had fallen and the Ayatollah took over, within a year or so, those communist agitators were all shot or executed in some way for what was considered immoral or amoral behavior, basically. So these people that were communist agitators in Iran were fighting for women's rights against Western influence. But when the Islamic regime came in, they fucking started killing the communists, betraying them, basically, using them as useful idiots, treating them like the Soviets treated the Cossacks after World War II. And if you know that history, the Cossacks were fighters, and when they repatriated back into the Soviet Union after World War II, they were treated as terrorists and traitors, and they were all shot by Stalin. This is what Ayatollah Khomeini did to his own people in retribution for these people. It's concentrated weed, so once I stop smoking it, it goes away. And that's what happened. And the Ayatollah Khomeini led a crackdown and an Islamic basically not a Sharia uprising, because it wasn't directly Sharia law. For a time, women were still allowed to go to university and all this other shit. But then the Ayatollah Khomeini died, and the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei came into power, and he was considered more of a radical and Muslim nationalism. There you go. And so now, with the existential threat once again of the United States and Israel, which, thank you, my friend. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now that the United States and Israel are attacking Iran, it's considered an existential threat once again, kind of like what happened with Jimmy Carter. Only the people on the ground aren't buying it, because the people are pissed off about getting shot and raped by the Iranian government as punishment for a hijab slipping. So you have multiple layers here. So these people that are saying it's just one issue and it's Trump are fucking stupid as fuck. They don't have any understanding of how deeply complex this is. So on top of that, you have the social upheaval of Iran. You have the clinging to power of the remains of the Ayatollah government, which is mostly dead right now. If I recall, I think only 4 of the top 36 are still alive. And there's rumor that the guy that's in charge right now is fucking brain dead in a coma with his leg blown off. So you don't really know who's in charge of Iran. So if you're wondering why Iran is acting sort of like a flailing loose cannon at this point, the reason that is because that's not happening. The reason the Iranian people are not protesting is because Donald Trump told the Iranian people, don't fucking leave your homes and protest until this mission is over with. He literally said that. He also dropped leaflets, or no, there was text messages, and they took over telling, they were like, we're coming, stay in your homes. And they didn't say, I believe Donald Trump said it was 3 to 4 weeks of bombing. Trump says we're about 2 weeks ahead of schedule. I don't know if I believe that or not, but basically they're waiting for the bombing and the fuck-ups to stop. Because as of right now, you say, all right, what can the Iranian government do? You remember the protests before this war. Everybody remembers the protests. No, go look it up. Everybody remembers the protests before the war. Then the IRGC started murdering civilians in the streets. You saw the videos of 20, 30,000 bodies, and then they shut off the internet. Well, the United States, from what I saw on a couple of fucking news stories and on Twitter, they had hacked text messages, even televisions, saying that fucking we were coming, blah, 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 all this other bullshit. Here you go, baby. But then the bombing started. But how do I put this? Just because we're helping Iran doesn't mean the Iranian people want Israel to expand as a nation. See, things can be two things. This is the one thing. This is the complexities that most people are too stupid to understand. So when you say like, well, Israel can be committing war crimes and helping people get freedom. Yes, they can do that at the same time, right? You can blow up a bunch of innocent people in Palestine and then blow up the Iranian military in Iran, and one can be for freedom and one for oppression. And you say, well, no, yeah, I do think they will protest. They will protest at some point. And you say, well, it can't be two things. Well, to a stupid person, it can't. Yes, that's correct. To a person with a very low IQ, it's impossible to do more than one thing, right? To a stupid person, it's either this or that. But that's not the realities of life. To a smart person, you can say, the person that's fighting my enemies with me are also supplying my enemies. You say, well, that's traitorous, but it's happening and it's two things. Kind of like when America supplied Iraq and Iran for that war. And you say, well, America can't be supplying both nations. And you're like, but we are. That's what we do. Fuck you. Well, how does that make sense? It doesn't matter if it makes sense. It's a reality, right? So like during the Iran-Iraq conflict, we were selling weapons to Iran and Iraq, who were killing and gassing each other. Well, you didn't pick a side. Who the fuck said you had to pick a side? Who the fuck are you? What are you? Really? Are you that fucking blind that you see fucking walls on each? Really? Once you break down the walls, you realize you can drive in the grass, right? You understand? You don't have to. You don't have to stay on the road just because there's lines there. You can drive over the paint, right? I promise you, your car will do it, right? You can drive into a building. You can drive on the sidewalk. All that shit. It doesn't mean you should, but it means that you can. Well, I'm making no sense to a stupid person. That's 100% correct. So, for instance, with Iran, the United States can attack Iran to free the people and also steal their oil resources while helping Israel and being mad at Israel for attacking Iran's gas fields, while the Iranian people accept our assistance but hate Israel at the same time. All those things can be truths. And you say, well, no, none of that. No. All of them can. Once you open up your mind to the possibility that all that shit is on the table, then you see a very expanded picture of the realities. And the realities are, because most people want to know, what's Donald Trump doing? Why is he doing this? The objective is to remove, pretty much, yeah. The objective is to remove the Iranian government and put in a friendly government that's favorable to Western trade and expansion. Why? Why is that? No, I have not. The reason of that is because then not only do we have a friendly foothold, because Iraq was not a friendly foothold. They didn't want us there. What's up, America? You know what I'm saying? They didn't want us there. What they wanted was us to take out Saddam Hussein, then to fuck off, okay? Iran wants us to take over their government and replace it for the civilian government because they want that government to be free and, quote, democratic, even though nobody really wants an actual democracy because it's close to totalitarianism in some cases. Nevertheless, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So why is it pertinent to have a foothold as America or Western world in Iran? Why does that matter? One, Afghanistan was too difficult to conquer and we had no friends over there. That's as close as we came to China was Bagram and a couple other Air Force bases in case we had to have rapid mobilization against the other secondary world power, right? Iran allows us to have a friendly base within eyeshot of China and that section of the world to threaten the Pan-Asian community from dual sides so that you can have a multi-front pincer war coming at China from the west and the east with relative ease. Now, it is true that we can do that anyway. We can fly B-2s from Missouri, threaten China's east or west, but the logistics are much greater if we have to have KC-135s up in the air coming from Indiana all the way over there, circling the back and forth. The recall back and forth time is much larger. Well, why China? Because China and Russia are the only forces in the world that threaten the United States and its interests, except the belligerent of North Korea, which is a wild card, and so is Iran. But what do they call that? North Korea is backed by China. So China will keep North Korea in check one way or another. The Iranians are seen as a wild card. Well, doing this not only gives the United States a foothold by China, greater access to oil and munitions and rare earth minerals, backing by a popular people who will support the United States, and also stop the conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia, making a favorable condition for our allies as well. What do we gain? We gain a loss of a state sponsor of terror. That means Yemen's Houthis will dry up. That will open up the Red Sea more. That means Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab will not be supplied as much. Hezbollah will be easier to destroy and dry up, but you have to cut the head off of the snake. Pakistan will have an easier time, and a lot of the Gulf neighbors won't be threatened, especially what they've been doing here. So the positive reciprocity gain here with Iran is much, or the cost benefit analysis, if you want to call it that, is much favoring the United States over our adversaries like Russia and China. And this effectively puts us in a position of a friendly government that can threaten China from the west and Russia from the south instead of north and east. So it's a whole new ball game if you have a friendly Iran. You already have a friendly Oman, technically a friendly Egypt, Jordan, Israel in the region. And with Hezbollah gone, you also can turn a friendly Lebanon. So what I see this, our country's rotting from military attack, of course. But the way they look at it, the way the United States powers that be look at it, is that by wiping out this, they call it terror regimes, throughout the world once and for all, then the entire planet can move forward. And I actually agree with that because Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, the Iranian government in general are terrorist pieces of fucking diarrhea. Fuck them. Fuck them right up their ear. I don't give a fuck if they all fucking die for the crimes they've committed. Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, Hamas, they're basically violent religious cartels. The same way the drug cartels in America are. Define terrorism. Targeting, and don't give me the Israel shit. I already said that shit 20 minutes ago. Targeting people that are innocent for the purposes of a political or territorial gain. Now, why are they doing that? Well, this goes back all the way to colonialism with the British and French governments. But the Americans have the military might and they're seen as a big shit. Well, why Israel? Why is Israel the problem? Well, here's how it worked. Before the Holocaust, before all that shit, after World War I, the Ottoman Empire was destroyed. Okay? So let's take you back. World War I, you had the Central Powers versus the Allied Powers. The Central Powers were Germany, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, and various other fuckbags. The Allied Powers were France, England, Benelux nations, and a couple other fuckbags here or there. Russia joined eventually, and of course the United States. After the war was over with, the Ottoman Empire was carved up as a spoil of war. The Ottoman Empire were the remains of the Islamic Caliphate states from the ancient times that went all the way to Spain back in the 1100s that were kicked out in the 14 to early 1500s. So the Ottoman Empire was rotted and fell apart. So what happened? The British and the French split up the Ottoman Empire. Okay? So there was a Turkish revolution by Prince Ataturk, and that formed modern-day Turkey. They were called the Young Turks, and they murdered a bunch of Christians Also, it was the Armenian genocide, if you remember all that shit. So Turkey formed its own nation, and they fucking revolted. Well, the Ottomans did that, then they revolted and made Turkey. Lebanon and Syria were gifted to the French, because this plays into the modern day what we're talking about. The Lebanon and Syria were gifted to the French. The British gained Egypt, the Sinai, what you call Palestine, what some call Israel, but they called it Transjordan. Okay? So, Transjordan, now this is old, I'm going through a timeline, so quit talking shit. Yeah, don't fucking talk shit. Anyway, Transjordan was never Palestine. Transjordan was a British protector or British mandate that actually Gaza was invaded by the English at one point. The first time they got the shit kicked out of them. The second time, the British beat the shit out of them and won. Now, for a very short time, the British called the territory the British Palestine. That was when it was under military rule. Unfortunately, that is no longer the thing. So everybody that shows an image of a manhole cover that says Palestine, that doesn't mean that your country was a fucking country. It was not. It was never a country. It was British owned. Nevertheless, after World War II, the Jews that were released from the concentration camps were gifted the land by the British. So the Muslim population had absolutely no say in where that land was mandated. And people keep saying to this day, hey, wait, we have mandate over the land. You don't. Your people were conquered by the British government. You don't have a right to that land. Your right was destroyed when the Ottoman state failed. Okay? It would be like saying, my family has claim to territory in the Roman Empire. Wonderful. The Roman Empire was destroyed by barbarians. You don't have a title anymore. It's gone. Kaput. Out the window, flush the toilet. That's where it went. You say, well, no, hold on. Palestine was nothing. You don't get Palestine because you had a family that lived there. That doesn't mean shit. That would be like saying my family goes back to ancient Venice and the fucking Medicis. That's wonderful. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't have a claim to a fucking spot of land in Venice because my family went back to the Medicis. They'll tell me to fuck myself and get in line and pay, tourist, you pile of shit. That's what they'll tell me. It doesn't matter. Because that's what happens when territories get conquered. You can honor cultures and food and all this other shit and religious practices. But as far as a governing body, it'll never happen. And it's definitely not going to happen because they came in and murdered a bunch of Jewish teenage girls and raped them in a field on camera. They came in with gliders. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? Well, we've been attacked by Israel. Wonderful. You're a conquered land. Of course you were. But flying paragliders over to a rave and raping and murdering a whole bunch of people for fun, which is what you did against the Quran, by the way. Nowhere in the Quran does it say, go and rape a bunch of underage girls to spread a religion against your enemies. No, it tells you to attack the military targets, you violent sons of bitches. You were raping girls on camera and shooting them during, not after, during, you sick fuck. I watched it happen. That's why October 7th? Was horrific. And you say, well, no, they had it coming. No, nobody has that coming, you sickos. That's why Hamas needed to be destroyed, and that's why Gaza looks the way it does. Oh, those poor people. I understand. It's a horrible concept that 65 to 80,000 civilians, 1/3 of them or more being under the age of 18, because the average age in Gaza is very young, by the way, because of, constant bombing. But you shouldn't have done that. What you should have done is disarmed your people, disbanded the terrorist groups, and lived in harmony. If you would have disbanded the terrorist groups, the Israelis probably would have stopped shooting you. Well, we don't know if it would have. Yes, we don't. That's true. But now we know that doing what you did made them blow you up and make your entire territory look like a child's sandbox. So it didn't work out like you thought, did it? That didn't work out like you thought, did it? No, sure didn't. Absolutely not. We're going to go with 1,200 men, and we're going to murder 1,500 Israelis, bunch of elderly people at a bus stop. Yeah, I watched all the videos. I saw it happen live. We were watching it live. You coming in murdering elderly people at a bus stop, you sick fucks. Murdering babies. I saw the full rooms of bodies. I saw them all. Yeah, I saw you murder dogs on you fucking psychos. And then you're like, well, no, they had it coming. No, you have it coming. You had what's coming, what deserved every inch of that dick. Gaza deserved every inch of that dick. Okay? Should the people have been protected? Yes. What should have been done, and it doesn't matter because if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. What you should have done is said, okay, the entire civilian population will be passed through a corridor between Gaza and the Palestinian state. What is it? The West Bank. And we're going to have a military-controlled pathway, and every person, no matter who, damn right free Iran, every single person will be going from Gaza to the West Bank and be checked through security. Every single person. The remains of the nation will be carpet bombed into beaded glass. If you want to live, you're coming to the West Bank, and if you want to die, you're going to stay there and be burned into beaded glass. Fuck you. Why? Because you attacked a bunch of civilians. I saw the bodies you left for a whole field, sitting there just enjoying some techno music, and you come in like a bunch of wild barbarians, raping every girl and shooting them. Fuck you. You deserve it all. Now, if you want to admit what you did was absolutely sickening, yeah, there's the Iranian school too. Now, I want to ask a question about that. No, I want to ask a question about that. Do you have a soul? Your people murdered a bunch of fucking young girls. Thank you, cowgirl. Do you have a soul? So it's okay. So it's okay for Hamas to go and murder and rape a bunch of Israeli girls. But if it comes back to destroying Hamas, then there's no soul. Got it. So you're fine because they're Israeli. You want to murder them. Wonderful. Are you out of your fucking mind? First of all, a separated state like Gaza and the West Bank would never work in a two-state solution. It's a separate state. One's an open-air prison. The other could potentially be a territory to run. You won't do that, though, because you're fucking assholes. You want the West Bank and Gaza separate so you can always, and you're backed by Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Southern Lebanon is Hezbollah's territory. These aren't good people, and if you think they are, you have shit for brains. These are terrorist cartels. They murder people just like the drug cartels on the Mexican border. There's no difference. You keep thinking there's a difference because you hate Israel. You're trying to find a reason because you hate Israel. But the real reason is these are terrorist sick fucks. And the reason a lot of civilians are dying is because these terrorists purposely live among the civilian population. And if you can't see that, I don't understand. So Hamas will pick a school to put a fucking weapons battery. Hamas will pick the water capabilities for a city to put their munitions so that when you destroy it, it will blow it up and harm a bunch of people so they can play the victim for international, it's the truth. You're a fucking piece of shit. Suck my dick. You're a fucking bitch. Look at you. Anyway, but that's what it is. And you support Hamas and God and fucking Islamic Jihad. You support fucking Hezbollah. You support the IRGC, which means you're just as much of a piece of shit as they are. I don't have to support Israel. I can only support the United States. But if you support those terrorist organizations, you're a fucking cunt. You're a twat. You have something wrong with you. It means you're placating murder. You're okay with murder. Yeah, you're okay with murder. And if you're okay with murder, then you're a pile of shit. Now, what about the 120? How about the 120 or 67 people that were killed in a school in southern Iran? This is why you don't want to go to war, period. But some of you are violent pieces of shit. You need to be mentally committed. The correct answer is you don't want to go to war. The correct answer is you don't murder or rape people. But the Iranian government murders and rapes people. The Hamas murders and rapes people. Hezbollah does it. And I don't understand why you can't see that. I mean, do you have shit for brains, or are you just saying it to be a contrarian? I don't understand what it is, because nobody can say Hamas is a good governmental body. Hamas uses water pipes to make rockets to shoot Israel. That's not a good body. You understand? That's a piece of shit. So Hamas, you say, here's humanitarian aid for water pipes. They say, Israel must die, let's make weapons out of them. Right? A piece of shit utilizes their limited resources for weapons rather than circumventing or removing the suffering of their people. And you say, well, what about the United States? Well, arguably the United States, their people are very well off, so they have unlimited resources to do that, whereas you don't. See, that lies the difference. So you say, well, does that mean we're better? No, it doesn't mean we're better. It just justifies why we have the money and you don't to do that. Hell yes, stained glass. Damn right, Woodsman. Hell yeah, free Iran. Damn, I've got the flag right here. So you have to understand that Israel is not yours to have. Your territory was conquered. You are fucking living in a world of ancient bullshit that's no longer there. As I hold up an old country's flag that's not there. But you want Palestine to be something. You're not going to have Palestine. It's not going to be a reality for you. And if it is, it's going to be a war that starts over it, obviously. You're not going to be allowed to murder people anymore for your religious doctrines in the modern world. Even Pakistan has had enough with Afghanistan. Okay? So Pakistan has invaded Afghanistan. All right? The United States is doing this. The world has had enough of the cartels and the fuck. Oh, I'm wrong. So the world hasn't had enough of the murder? We want some more of it. Is that it? We want the terrorist cartels and we want the drug cartels. That's what we want. So we're all clamoring for more rapes of our daughters and murders of our sons. That's what we're looking at. Great. Yeah, that's what we want, dumb fuck. That's what we want. Yeah, because I want a fucking strong, hard fucking piece of pipe up my ass too. What, are you out of your fucking mind? Anyway, bottom line is people are done with the terrorist shit. Nobody gives a fuck about Islam. We give a fuck about you murdering and raping and stabbing people. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. That's all you got to do. That's what you do. I mean, I've seen it. How many times do I have to see it? The stabbings in England. Stop doing that. Your religion says to quit murdering people, yet you do it anyway. Why? Because you insult the prophet? Deal with it. Fucking deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. Freedom means dealing with insult. I leave you people on here to talk shit, let you talk shit, and then block you. You can do the same thing with me. Block me. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. But justifying the murder of innocent makes you fucking a pile of shit. Oh, Epstein's a pile of shit. We need to execute those people. No, we're talking about ancient Christianity. We're talking about modern Islam. And this is what Christopher Hitchens even said with the definement and the change between modern and ancient. Modern Christianity is relatively benign, right? Whereas modern Islam is relatively violent, if you look at the history. But what about ancient Christianity? As I said, that's become relatively benign. Whereas Islam is ready to do war, but using the sword and apparently other munitions against civilian targets and populations if it deems fit to continue the spreading of Sharia and the spreading of the Islamic caliphatic style of empire that you wish could be dominating the entire world of your cargo cult. That's what it, I don't know what to tell you. Islam was always a cargo cult. That's why it spread so fast, right? But in my opinion, it's not a sense maker. And then you also have everybody in the world. Well, Israel this, Israel that. Why can't you say Israel's government? Why do you have to murder innocent people? See, that's the thing. That's what you don't make a difference between. The West tries not to murder innocent people, even though they kill innocent people. It's at least an attempt. Your side says we're going to use who attacked who first, on which front. That's the thing, on which front. How far back or how far forward? Because we're looking at, do you want to go back to the British? Do you want to go back to the French? Do you want to go back to the Berbers? Do you want to go back to the fucking the Crusades? Which, if that's the case, you did first, right? I mean, or do you want to go back to Muhammad with the spread and the split and the spread down to Mecca and Medina and the fucking herding spreads and then the North African campaigns about 120 years after his death, where fucking he was either capitulate or die, because there's those things as well. Right, so it's a long history. Thank you, DVICJ. Now, like I've said a million times, I have no problem with the Islamic people or religion. Never have. I've had friends from all over the Arab world. It's not an issue. The issue is the radical section. So, for instance, do you guys, I don't know where you guys are from in the world, do you guys know what Mormonism is? And I'm not talking about Mormonism like, I'm talking about like the cult Mormonism shit, where the one guy marries 30 underage girls and like commands them like a cult and shit, right? So you can say, well, okay, look, we have Christianity, which has various sectors, and then, yeah, so you know about him, and then you have this other psycho type of bullshit, right? That's like, and you say, well, does that mean Islam is all like that? No, but in Islam, there's these sectors that are similar, right? For the instance, the Taliban. The Taliban, I don't care, I don't know how many people in here are Islamic. Would you agree that the Taliban is what you would call a radical version of Sharia governance over nations like Jordan or Egypt or even Saudi Arabia? Would you agree that Iran, Yemen, and certain North African particular governments are more conservative religious radicals, while others like Morocco, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain are still Islamic, but are more lenient on maybe it doesn't matter if a woman's hair is showing, right? Or maybe it doesn't matter if you're necessarily an apostate if you pay a tax. Or maybe it's not a certain type of situation, but it doesn't have to be hiding behind women and children, I guess you want to say. No, I already know about Saudi Arabia. Don't even get me started about Saudi Arabia. Holy fuck. You want to talk about playing multiple sides? Holy shit. I will say that when it comes to Turkey, that's a wild card. Turkey's a NATO member. So I don't know where you want to play with that one. Nevertheless, all as I'm saying is that the old religions of the world have evolved in a point. So like Christianity evolved from territorial Christendom to belief system. So then why attack Iran? The reason to attack Iran was because the IRGC was murdering anywhere between 30 and 70,000 people with 300 to 500,000 wounded. That's why the attack. Now, these other things are coming after the fact. So what does Israel have to do with it? Well, Israel has another... No, it's not, because that's why it was. You're looking at Israel's agenda and you're trying to put what America's agenda is with it. No. You cannot confuse the two, my friend. Israel's agenda is different than America's agenda, which is why the United States is believing that Israel's a loose cannon at this point with the attack on the Iranian gas fields. You see, it was never the intention of the Americans to blow up the energy infrastructure of Iran. The objective was to destroy the head of the governments, right? What's up, Mabel Cat? And then usher in a friendly, whether it was Islamic or not, did not matter, government that would allow commerce and trade with America and the Western world, freeing up the Straits of Hormuz for the Gulf states and stopping the murder. Okay, those were the two main options. Israel said, fuck it, we're going to blow up your gas and shit. And we're going to blow up Lebanon and all this other shit. I understand why Lebanon, because of the fact that Hezbollah is embedded in southern Lebanon. Okay, that's been an enemy of Israel for a long time. If you haven't noticed, the Americans are not helping with Hezbollah. The reason is because that's not our ball game, right? We'll provide information, but we're not going to drop bombs on Hezbollah because that's their ball game. Right? Why are there no boots on the ground in Ukraine? Exact same reason. Because it's not about anything to do with territorial gain. When it comes to, but these two things are different. Thank you, Mabel Cat. Hell yeah, when you look at Ukraine, that's a whole other weird shit. So, let me tell you about Ukraine. So, this goes back, okay, there was a president named Poroshenko, I believe his name. I can't ever pronounce it right. And he was a Russian-backed leader of Ukraine. So Ukraine, as you know, was a plebiscite state of the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union broke up, the Ukraine became an independent nation, but it was a Soviet, or should say Russian-backed, under Boris Yeltsin and a couple others, backed government. So the president of Ukraine was a Russian-backed individual. So there was an orange revolution in the Ukraine where the government said we don't want to be Russian-backed because Russia was turning into a shithole, obviously because of empirical failure. So there was that happened. The Russians sent in snipers and were killing agitators. And then they decided to have an election in the eastern Ukraine, in the 3 provinces that are being fought over now. At some point, there was a fire in one of the customs house, I think it was. You'll have to look that up. When dozens of Russian supporting Ukrainians were murdered when they locked the doors and lit them on fire. Now, that happened after Russia took Sevastopol from Crimea. So why did the Russians do that? The Russians did that because they were not backed by a Russian government anymore. And part of the agreement to be backed by that was dominant control of Sevastopol for the Russian Navy. So the Russian Navy said Sevastopol has always been a Russian naval port, and we will have that whether you like it or not. So they came in and took that. That irked the Ukrainians, who said, this is our territory. The Russians said, no, the rest of that's your territory. We have this now. And they said, well, no, hold on. We're an independent nation. And the Russians said, fuck you. It's always been us, and it always will be. So that went back and forth for a while until NATO started encroaching on Russian territory more and more and more. And when that finally happened, NATO, they were starting to say, well, maybe we could add Ukraine into NATO. And that's exactly, who else got booted off to, and that's exactly when the Russian government said, no, we are going to invade the fuck out of you. And so they massed 200,000 men, give or take, tried to invade Ukraine. Obviously, the Russians needed about 1 million. They didn't come close to having it. Ineptness, blah, blah, blah. They got blown the fuck up. Took about half of the territories that they were initially wanting to, which they initially wanted all of Ukraine, but it was kind of variable on the timelines and the goals for that. They wanted those 3 provinces. Now it's still going on, and the United States under Joe Biden, 250, no shit. I saw it way higher. I need to get that. Now, under Joe Biden decided to give a lot of money and weapons and munitions to Ukraine under Joe Biden. A lot of people didn't like that. So in the United States, you had a very vocal minority that said, we want to go to Ukraine and fight. And most people said, I don't want that shit. You suck dick. And so Joe Biden said, we don't care. We're going to just give you an unlimited amount of weapons and money to fight. And so the Ukraine stole a bunch of money from America. It was corruption. Absolutely terrible. Oh, I've been watching this. It's amazing. I went to grad school, and I bet you fucking didn't do shit with your life. That's hilarious. I went to grad school, and I guarantee you talking shit never went through even further than high school at the highest level. I guarantee it, if even that. Guaranteed. So, shut the fuck up and leave my stream. Anyway, so that's what it is. The Ukrainian government and the Russian government are fighting over and over and over because of this dick measuring. And the Russians are not going to stop until they get all the territories, at least the 3 provinces in the east that they want, that connects from that area to Sevastopol. And I guarantee, even if the Russians take that territory, eventually they will invade the rest of Ukraine and they will take it on a 9th grade education. That's wonderful. Very nice. But I guarantee the Russians will take Ukraine if they're put up to it. Now, does Donald Trump not want to give weapons to Ukraine? Yes. He's trying to end the war. Personally speaking, I would abandon the Ukraine. That's what it is. Never worked there, fuckface. I'm just kidding. I would abandon the Ukraine. Oh, he's not talking to me. Yeah, you're good. I didn't know who it was. You're awesome, though. But I would abandon the Ukraine. Why would I abandon the Ukraine? Because it's a never-ending war. It's a quagmire. You're awesome. I like you. It's a quagmire over there. Now, should there be a peace? Of course. The bottom line is there shouldn't be war. You understand? That's the bottom line there. And nobody's doing that. The terrorist states only want to fight. So, like, if Hamas is allowed to exist, what will they do? They will shoot and kill and rape people. What if Hezbollah? It's the same thing. Well, why is that? Why is it that the Taliban would take prisoners and they would rape them and they would say, oh, it's almost a duty to do it? And I've seen the videos. Because it's a barbaric Iron Age religion is what it is. And they're using those tactics. It would be like saying, okay, if you ruled a government according to the Old Testament now, you would say that is a fucked up thing and it should never be done, right? Where you had to look at the sheets to see if there were blood on it or you stoned her to death, right? Okay, so you would agree that ruling a government by Old Testament rule is not appropriate for a modern society, correct? So why would you rule a society by the standards of 680 AD when Islam was formed? Why would you do that? Why would you ever in a million years say what's appropriate then is appropriate now? And I believe Jesus is God, just by the way. He resurrected and he lived. So if you want to go to heaven, call on Jesus. He'll help you. But none of that works outside of your personal belief system. If you run a government saying that the prophet did this, who fucking gives a shit? The prophet was an illiterate fucking shepherd or merchant. I'm sorry. Shepherd was David. An illiterate merchant from the Arabian Peninsula. So why are you taking cues from that in a modern society? Muhammad would not understand what AI would do to an economy. He wouldn't understand what an AI or a modern economy was. It's the same thing with fucking, if you said, well, Moses, you have to understand, there's these robots that are learning. He'd be like, what is any of this? He wouldn't know, like, that's not going to run a railroad. So you need to step out of that shit, right? And you need to fucking run your government according to how it makes the people effective, makes the country gain, what induces security as well as a comfort level for the people, makes it easy so people aren't starving. You don't want a bunch of homeless fucks. You don't want a bunch of starving fucks. You don't want a bunch of poverty-stricken individuals that are barely surviving because it makes you an embarrassment to the other countries. And you want to uplift, you don't want to down. And so what does that mean? You don't even have to cut things. You just have to quit being so fucking greedy and warlike. That's all it is. Let me ask you this question. Everybody out there that talks shit to me, you want Palestine and all this and the PLO. Let me ask you a question. Why did Yasser Arafat steal so much money from the Palestinian Liberation Organization? Why did Yasser Arafat steal so much money from the West Bank's coffers and from charities? Why did Yasser Arafat and his wife have flats in Paris and London and shopped for jewelry like the Ceausescus when fucking he hated the West? Why was that? Can somebody tell me? Because you bought into a bag of horse shit. You thought he was a freedom fighter. Just like why were the guys that ordered Hamas to attack Israel, why were they in Bahrain living in nice hotels and being fed the nicest of foods? It's because they're piles of shit. Right? This would be like the same thing if Jim Jones had an army, right? Seriously. This would be the same as if Jim Jones had an army. This would be the same as if, Scientology had an army. This is not a good look. And these people are saying, well, as long as we kill all the Jews, then we can make our life better. But that's a stupid platform. Well, I don't like it. It doesn't matter. That to hang your hat on that is a stupid platform. It's not just morally bankrupt. It's a stupid platform. You're going to take resources, including food, water, shelter, metallic resources, all sorts of things, and you're going to make it so you can just murder a group of people. So L. Ron Hubbard. So for instance, with Iran, you're going to starve your people in some cases or shoot them so that you can fucking get a nuclear weapon to murder a group of people. Same with North Korea. You have actively starved people to death so that you have enough resources to build your bombs. So people eating grass soup, and that's a real thing in North Korea, you did that to your people because you funneled the resources away from your people to building a nuclear bomb. Well, that's more important. It's not, though. It would be better if you weren't a military power and the people were doing better. You have it backwards. We have to be strong for what possibility? That China's going to invade you that's already aligned with you? There's no reason to be, thank you, PETA. There's no reason to have to starve your people for the behest of creating a nuclear weapon. That doesn't do anything. It just makes you a dumb piece of shit. Yeah, that guy elects himself in North Korea. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, the problem is you worship these people. You use them as like Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He's a humble man that's going to lead us. No, he's siphoning your resources away to build a nuke to blow up Israel, and the economy is in the toilet. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's not that bad. I know, that's the thing. I know it's not that bad. That's what I'm talking about. The only thing is the speculation. So that's what I'm saying. And it's like, look, all you have to understand is that there are elements. So for instance, Iran is not up to par as the nation of, say, Turkey, okay? Lebanon is not up to par with Bahrain, okay? Let's just say that Yemen is not the same or up to par as Oman. Well, what does that mean? It means that in Oman, you're not going to get shot to death. Most cases by a bunch of psychos. Yemen, you might get shot to death by a bunch of religious fanatics. That's the difference. If I'm in Dubai, I'm not going to get shot to death by religious fanatics. I'll ski at an indoor mall and they'll do cloud seeding when it's hot. If I go to Pakistan and burn the Quran, I might get shot. Okay? If I'm in Syria, there's still elements of ISIS. If I'm in Egypt, I probably don't have to worry. If I'm in Libya, I would watch out. If I'm in Tunisia or Morocco, I'm fine. Well, they're all Islamic nations. No fucking shit. You see how I would go to some but not others? Like I wouldn't go to Mexico right now because like 4 of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the world are in Mexico. Why wouldn't I go to Mexico? Cartel violence, kidnappings, fuck that shit. I wouldn't go there. It's a beautiful country. Get that ironed out, I might. But I don't want to go to Mexico because I don't want to be kidnapped. There's an off chance. There's an off chance. What about Somalia? Fuck you. You already know my answer. I wouldn't go to Somalia. What's wrong with you? Well, why? What, are you scared? I'm an American. Are you kidding me? Even if I went humbly and I fucking was Muslim and I was a cleric, it wouldn't matter. My passport says I'm a valuable asset to kill or kidnap, is what that says. No, I wouldn't go there. Like, I would love to go to Yemen, to go to Scrotia Island and fucking go get the honey on the island. I would love to. But I'm not going there because I know I'm an American. I'm not welcome there. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm a great person. They don't give a fuck. I'm not welcome there because they kill and maim people like me, even if I'm a civilian. Well, it didn't used to be that way. Well, now we're at war, and the government would look at me as a spy or an invader or an interloper. Like if I landed in Iran right now, if I flew to Tehran right now, you think I would be arrested getting off the plane? Exactly. I would be arrested getting off the plane if I flew to Tehran. They would be like, what the fuck is this? I'd be like, what the fuck is this? They're like, get the fuck over here, you American turd. I'd be like, I know. And there's nothing I could do. Walk over Dubai City with an American flag. Yeah, nobody bats an eye in Dubai, exactly. Or Qatar, or Bahrain, or in most places in Saudi Arabia, or in Oman. That's the difference. You see? You could be in the Philippines wearing an American flag suit. Nobody cares. But if you go to Myanmar, it might be a problem. You see what I'm saying? And so this is the difference. It's not about Islam. It's about I'm not even going to say moderation of it. How much religion do you put into your governments, I guess? That's kind of what I'm asking. And a lot of people say, well, America does it too. Well, individuals do it in America. It's generally it's frowned upon to lead by religious fiat in the United States. Yeah, it's not a race. Exactly. That's 100% correct. I've had people say, well, Islam, if you don't support Islam, you're racist. I'm like, it's not a race. It's a belief. It's not a race. There are people that have, like in Iran right now, that have lighter hair than me and are as white as me, that live in Iran, that are Iranian citizens, that go to mosque every fucking day. You're like, yes, they look red hair and fuck, yeah, look it up. Redheaded Rainey, yeah, absolutely. 100%. Because people don't know that. Said Americans get kidnapped, but that was years ago. Yeah, it was. Well, there was an island called Palawan Island. I believe that's how you pronounce it. They used to do some kidnapping over there. So I'm going to get into this story. Let me know what you think about this. Chappell Roan is accused of leaving Jude Law's 11-year-old daughter, which she was with the stepdad, in tears, using security to threaten the child. So pop sensation. Now I'm not sure. Are you upset with security or are you upset with Chappell Roan? Yeah, they're all over the place. Exactly. So pop sensation Chappell Roan has been accused of allegedly sicking her security guard on the daughter of Jude Law after the child bumped into the Hot to Go singer at a hotel in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The singer, born Kaylee Rose Amstutz. I knew an Amstutz. Remember that? I had to get her signature to go into grad school. She was that judge and ran that nonprofit. In the city to perform for the Brazilian version of Lollapalooza. The criticism came in a post made on Instagram by former Chelsea and Arsenal soccer star Georgiano, who was married to Catherine Harding, Jude Law's ex, and the child's mother. The former Champions League's winner, who now plays for Brazilian Giants Flamingos, publicly blasted the 28-year-old Chappell Roan Pink Pony Club songstress in a post over the security guard's actions toward the child, who was not named but appears to be Ada Law, the daughter of Jude Law. Quote, I went through a very upsetting situation with my family earlier today, the 34-year-old began in a lengthy statement. My wife is in Sao Paulo for Lollapalooza bar this morning. Lollapalooza. My daughter woke up incredibly excited. She even made a sign because she was so happy to see an artist she really admires or used to admire, talking about Chappell Roan. He continued, by coincidence, they're staying at the same hotel as the artist. During breakfast, the artist walked past their table. My daughter, like any child, recognized Chappell Roan, got excited and wanted to make sure it was really her. Quote, and the worst part is she didn't even approach Chappell Roan. She simply walked by the table, looked to confirm it was her and smiled, went back to sit with her mom. She didn't say anything, didn't ask for anything. What happened next was completely disproportionate. A large security guard came over to the table while they were still having breakfast and began speaking in an extremely aggressive manner to both my wife and my daughter, saying that she shouldn't allow my daughter to disrespect or harass other people. Honestly, I don't know what point simply walking past the table and looking to see if someone is there could be considered harassment. He even said he would file a complaint against them with the hotel while my 11-year-old daughter was sitting there crying. My daughter's extremely shaken and cried a lot. So let me know what you think about this in the comments. Quote, I've lived with football, public exposure, and well-known people for many years, and I understand very well what respect and boundaries are. What happened there was not that. It was just a child admiring someone. It's sad to see this kind of treatment coming from those who should understand the importance of fans. At the end of the day, there are no ones who build all this. They're the ones who build all this. I sincerely hope this serves as a moment of reflection to Chappell Roan. No one should have to go through this, especially not a child. The soccer player, or the footballer, I should say, concluded at Chappell Roan on Instagram, without your fans, you would be nothing. And to the fans, she doesn't deserve your affection. Representatives for Chappell Roan did not respond to the Daily Mail's comments. That's the story I'm reading off of. Chappell Roan has had an occasionally courteous relationship with her fans, with the artist previously calling out behaviors that she considered creepy and invasive on social media posts. In August 2024, around the time of her sudden rise in popularity, Chappell Roan posted a video on TikTok where she said, "I don't care that abuse and harassment, stalking, whatever, is a normal thing to do when people are famous or a little famous. It's weird how people think that you know a person because you see them online and you listen to the art they make. I'm allowed to say no to creepy behavior," okay? Well, technically that's 100% true. She followed up with a lengthy post to Instagram saying, "I want to be an artist for the long time. I've been in too many non-consensual physical and social interactions, and I need to lay it out and remind you, women don't owe you shit." Well, that was a woman to a woman. So that may be, but it's not like a creepy man was trying to grab your tits at breakfast. Chappell Roan continued, "When I'm on stage, when I'm performing, when I'm in drag, when I'm at my work events, when I'm doing press, I'm at work, any other circumstance, and I'm not in work mode, I am clocked out." So that means sicking a security guard on a fucking 11-year-old. She added, "If you're still asking, well," and this is from 2024 though. "Well, if you don't want this to happen, then why did you choose a career where you knew you wouldn't be comfortable with the outcome of success? Understand this, I embrace success of the project, the love I feel, and the gratitude I have. Why do you not accept that creepy people being touched and being followed?" So, I have a feeling that Chappell Roan has had men try to grab her ass and tits on stage or in her time. I don't know what the circumstances are. However, sicking a security guard on an 11-year-old girl is an inappropriate situation. That's just what it is. Now, what is your opinion? Yeah, I want to see the Ethiopian Bible, actually. So what is your opinion on Chappell Roan? Do you think that that was appropriate, or do you think that she should be lambasted? Whatever's clever, let me know in the comments. Oh my God! McDonald's Big Arch Burger that's been created can be up to 74% more expensive depending on the state. The cheapest place in America to buy the Big Arch Burger is San Antonio, and it's $7.10, and the most expensive is in Maine at $12.28 or 33 cents, with an average price between $8 and $10.50, depending on where you're at. Some people are accusing McDonald's of ripping people off and serving others human meat. Anyway, yeah. So, where would you go in the world? Where would you go in the world? Oh my God. It is a slow news day until Iran blew up a bunch of Israelis. That's fun. So a man who's been traveling the world full-time has visited 80 different countries and is now sharing the most hidden or overrated destinations and hidden gems in the world. And the ads just popped up. And I could tell you the background, but I don't really give a fuck, right? This dude's been to 81 countries. And see, I went through half the story literally, and there was nothing of value except his background. That's it. This guy told the London Daily Mail that Central Asia, especially Kazakhstan, Borneo, Laos, Jordan, Armenia, Bolivia, Nicaragua, that's not Central Asia, or Timor-Leste are all underrated places that you suggest you go to. I would go to Uzbekistan. I would go to Kazakhstan. I would go to Borneo immediately. Same with Armenia. I would go to all those places. But he also said there's sought-off destinations that are not what he expected. Particularly, he said Bali and Thailand were a little too crowded for his liking. He admitted that living on the road was not always easy. This is a bad fluff story. I'd like to go to Cyprus. Would you like to go to Cyprus? I would love to go to Cyprus. I've been to Australia and New Zealand. Both are nice countries. I liked Australia better, though New Zealand had amazing beauty. So, YouTuber, I just spit when I talk. Do you have another joint? YouTuber Nick Shirley is now exposing fraud out in California. Yeah, Cyprus would be sweet. Absolutely. Among fake hospice centers, also in Minnesota with learning centers. Now he's on live streams, or he has been, saying that he's been getting terrifying threats from left-wing activists threatening to kill. Damn. Mom-to-be finds out cop who got her pregnant has HIV after baby mom is texts. Damn. And a postal worker has been seen on video today shoving a boy's face into the ground for approaching him. People are fucking psychos, aren't they? Jesus Christ. South America somewhere. Drop me off in the tropics. Damn straight. Yeah, so a U.S. postal worker has been charged with a felony for attacking what appears to be a Jewish child. A USPS mailman faces felony charges. He is Jewish after shoving a Jewish boy in an attack caught on camera. Gabrielle Stan, age 39, of Stony Point, New York, got handed a second-degree assault felony charge on top of 2 initial misdemeanors for attacking a 4-year-old Jewish boy. He was hit with the new charge due to the child's age being under 7. The disturbing confrontation unfolded on Thursday evening in Rockland County, 30 miles north of New York City, when surveillance footage saw a young child approaching a parked mail truck. The mailman suddenly turned around and forcibly pushed the little boy backwards onto the pavement. The boy fell over onto his back and can be seen scrambling to his feet moments later, picking up his yarmulke before walking away. Authorities said the suspect was quickly identified and arrested. The following day, Rampo Police Department charged him with endangering the welfare of a child and attempted assault in the 3rd degree, both misdemeanors. But as you already know where this is going, he was released to appear in court. The incident was first reported. He got a felony, as you know, because he attacked a Jewish person. And so you had a person attack a 4-year-old boy because he was Jewish. What the fuck? AMC. I will say this. I used to love going to movie theaters, but the movies now suck outside of a couple of ones that I've seen. Used to take my kids to a lot of kid movies, specifically Disney movies. We haven't been doing that for a while. Most people can't afford movies now. I would like to see, and I don't know if anybody wants to do this or has money out there, I would like to see video stores, video rental stores come back. Now, let me tell you why. Listen to this. So, the adoption of physical media by the younger generation has risen approximately 30%. Hollywood actors and actresses are starting to use wired headphones instead of AirPods or AirBuds now. Younger people are getting a mix of analog styles with social media. So you'll have people like on TikTok that are filming live stream doing this high-tech shit we're doing, but crocheting and doing physical media or doing physical items like that. People are buying physical media. Both my children are into vinyl. They're into buying DVDs and movies, watching, not just watching Netflix, but putting DVDs in, buying external DVDs for your laptops, doing it that way, having the physical media. People are pissed off at Netflix having 2 and 3 seasons of a show and blocking or canceling the ones out so you can't get it, paying for a service only to have to pay more, and nobody likes cable. So there's going to be a weird mix, and I'm actually very happy about this. And if you want to know more, look up a society style called Frutiger Aero. Most people don't know what that is. It was the promised future that was shown in the year 2003 and 4. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but the world used to be a lot more optimistic acting than what you're seeing now. People now are miserable assholes, mean to everybody, and it shows. But that's not how the world was back in 2004, even after 9/11. But I would argue if it didn't happen, it would have been better. And so if you guys know like Windows Vista, Windows 7, those backgrounds and those skins that came on those aesthetics, the Frutiger Aero aesthetic, Global Coffee House aesthetic, certain types of aesthetics that went the wayside. The aesthetics, what you're seeing now, make what the world you're living. Everything is what's called corporate minimalism now. So your buildings don't have any unique features. There's no ultra futuristic, no building with the environment into the building attached to it. It's very minimalist and brutalist. That's called corporate minimalism. Before this, there used to be a heavy aesthetic called Frutiger Aero, Global Coffee House. There's several other styles I need to talk about. And the Frutiger Aero was what was considered the, quote, promised future. Okay? So the promised future was a mix of green power sources, not forced green power, where things were integrated into walls, shit like that. It had moving walkways. It adopted gardens and nature into the building designs, water into the building designs, little bridges, high-tech lighting, high-tech couches and furnitures that looked solid but were very soft when you sat on it. These are some of the designs, and there was these other designs called Dorfic and Frutiger Echo and what's it called, Techno Zen, and all these other types of things. And they basically were a style variation on what was called Web 2.0 gloss. All right, so, and I'll just read exactly what this is. Frutiger Aero was prevalent during the mid-2000s to the early 2010s, succeeding the styles of the Y2K aesthetics, which was popular from the 90s to the 2000s. The name Frutiger Aero is derived from Frutiger typeface, which was designed by Adrian Frutiger, and the Windows Aero design language. The style had no common name at the height of its influence. It was named in 2017 by Sophie Xian of the Consumer Aesthetic Research Institute, or CARI Institute. It reflects elements known as Web 2.0 gloss. What's up, Wanda? Frutiger Aero is a design that was prevalent during those times, and it originated in a user interface design, but later influenced various other media. And it's considered a style or future that was created by an internet aesthetic. All right? And so this is very popular among Gen Z for the future that they would like to see. And it's an object of nostalgia mixed with future. So I'll just read the characteristics of this. You got to check this out. Frutiger Aero is rooted in technological achievements or advancements and cultural events such as the Y2K problem and the transition to Web 2.0 during the 90s and 2000s. Although the style is futuristic, nature is the common theme and the style depicts nature intertwined with a digital future. Common designs include blue skies, grass, lens flares, auroras, and what's this called? Boeck effects of in and out variations. The style incorporates elements of sea punk subculture and has a lot of water features in the aesthetics. Started initially in Tumblr and it included water and tropical fish. It also played off of the game Echo the Dolphin. I like Victorian too. And so a group media research said that Frutiger Arrow was a political dimension and was the promised future that was removed from society in favor of corporate minimalism. So if you do not like corporate minimalism, Frutiger Arrow was supposed to be the replacement. They chose what do they call it? Corporate minimalism, because corporate minimalism was cheap as fuck. There's even music that's coming out that's being put on Spotify and shit like that because of the Frutiger Arrow shit. Well, now why is that important? Well, the Frutiger Arrow situation is important because we have to develop a government and a style that goes beyond Democrats and Republicans and goes beyond the horse shit that we've been living. And the Frutiger Arrow style is the future that you actually want. And I urge you to look up not just the Wikipedia page, but Frutiger Arrow on CARI Institute, the CARI Institute, CARI Institute. It's the Consumer Aesthetic Research Institute. Hi, out stuff. And the CARI Institute, you just go onto their website and you look on where it says aesthetic categories, and it gives you an alphabetic set of aesthetic categories that you can build a future in society on. And when you look at this, there are literally 50 to 100 different entire society aesthetic choices on top of the ones not listed here. So you can look at like Baroque, you can look at Romantic, you can look at Gothic, you can look at Brutalist and Minimalist. But they, on top of those styles of design and building, there's these styles of design and building as well, right? And these are more futuristic and they're much better in many cases. I would like to see fucking video stores, video rental stores brought back. But as far as the future that most of you want, where it's clean, it's efficient, it's free, this, that, and the other, you're going to be looking at Gen X Cyber Corporate. You're going to be looking at Frutiger Arrow, absolutely. Corporate Memphis is another aesthetic style. Festive Marketplace, those are like your malls in the early and mid 90s. If you like malls in the early and mid 90s, then your Festive Marketplace style is going to have a lot of those malls and supermarkets of the 90s that you could also evolve in a way. And these styles are stuff, a mix of what you grew up with, Gen X, millennials, what you grew up with, that style, mixed with a future computer style like Frutiger Arrow. Those are the styles that you're looking for, I promise you. You also have certain styles called 4-color. Those are current, but very rare. Then you had the old Nickelodeon, like Ren and Stimpy styles, which was called Groovial from the 80s to the 2000s. You have Googie Kitsch. Those are like In Living Color, if you remember that show. And then you had the Global Village Coffee House style, which is basically Alanis Morissette as an aesthetic. So, or Friends, like the Friends style, that's called Global Village Coffee House. So those are a mix of those styles. You also had one called Hypnus, Purgatory, and Hexatron. Anyway, the bottom line is I'm trying to tell you guys that you've been cheated on your future. You're living in a very minimalist, architecturally bland shithole. And we had a future that was supposed to be much better than what you're living. These aesthetic choices I'm telling you about right now, those aesthetics are supposed to be what you're living in currently, right? You are living in a dump. You are living in 1994, rotted to nothing. Not much has been updated, specifically in the last decade or decade and a half. I'm not going to lie, outside of computers, gaming consoles, and iPhones, there hasn't been much updates or gains outside of the most basic shit we used to do in the early 2000s. Now, why is that? The reason that is because it was cheap to do corporate minimalism. And so these giant corporations chose the cheapest aesthetics. Let me ask you, for instance, you guys remember McDonald's back in the day and Taco Bell? Very colorful, very family friendly, very oriented to keep you in there enjoying it, having fun. It was almost a cultural icon to have the kids at McDonald's. You all had a meal, fries, you were all sharing at the play place, all this other bullshit. Now it looks like a break room in an office. Why is that? Because all that fun, whimsical shit costs money. And corporate minimalism, or cheap as fuck, as they want to call it, it's very cheap. It's very slim. It's a slim down design. How many times have you heard people say that? Well, we're going to streamline it. Streamline it means they're going to take all the fun frills off and give you garbage that just barely functions. That's what streamlining is. When you look at a building, here, let me see here. When you look at a building in New York City from 1946, it is not a streamlined building. It takes aesthetics. It has carvings, metalwork. It has a lot of art. I could take you down to the city I live in right now, and I could show you the difference between the carvings in the stone on the sides of the building versus in the metalwork, and some of them in the 30s and 40s, that Art Deco style. And then now it's just flat fucking garbage. Flat fucking stupid brutalist garbage. Gas prices will continue to go up until this continues. And you say, well, why is that? Because everything has been done through a lens of capitalism. Not just here in America, but in Western Europe as well. All as it is the cheapest for the most gain or profit. And that's the problem. That's why you have, look, everything's not just news or political. There's a general feeling among people that it just kind of sucks. When you go out, like the day's beautiful, everything's like that, but the roads are garbage, the buildings look like shit, nothing runs right. What's up, Ghost? How you doing? Everything is kind of weak. You have it's not like a depression, but it's kind of unless you're in nature, you kind of say meh. All of these aesthetics, it's just meh. And I go, why is meh? Because everything that's good, everything that's unique and artistic has been taken away from the aesthetics. It's not done to build cultural icons in cities and landmarks that people recognize. It's done just to say, what can we make the cheapest and gain us the most? And now you're living in what that is in real life. In real life. You say, well, I don't like that. Hell yeah, thank you, Ghost. I don't like that. It looks like shit. Old Taco Bell looks better than new Taco Bell. Old McDonald's looks better than new McDonald's. Yeah, old McDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. That's right. The old malls look better than now. And it's just, that's the realities of the situation. People say, well, no, I don't want to spend the money. Profit is best. Profit is not best, though. Profit does not build a second generation properly. Profit builds people now, and that's it. So when are we going to move this society forward? And every time I talked about my religious leanings or political leanings, left and right, back and forth, black and white attack me. And all I'm trying to tell you, and I've been saying it for several years across multiple platforms, is your future that you're supposed to be living in is gone. You were cheated. Do you understand that? Don't forget to thumbs up. You were cheated in life. You were supposed to be living in a better world. You weren't supposed to be using gasoline right now, right? They have hydrogen efficient powered cars. They just don't do it. They have water powered cars. Get garbage. They just don't do it, right? Because they can't make profit off of it. The electric cars are a fucking garbage dump failure for the most part, right? There's better out there. You don't have to have electric cars. You don't have to have windmills or solar. There are miniature nuclear reactors that can fuel entire city blocks. Tiny ones that you can put in one location. What if they blow up? Well, they won't though. That's the thing. Isn't that fun? So like you don't have to live like this. You can have cars that run on trash. You have cars that the fuel can be turned from plastic. A black dude in Africa made it. It's not difficult. We just don't do it because it doesn't make the top 3,000 people in America billions of dollars. And as long as you don't get over that hurdle, then you will never evolve in the world ever. And I can't say it enough. You say, well, I mean, look, bro, we're not even at flying taxis yet. You don't even have robots. We don't even have a cure for cancer publicly yet. It's ridiculous. We haven't cured disease. We're a laughing stock. Well, what are you doing? We're putting money into nuclear weapons and buying boats and whores. Woo! It's like every billionaire, it's a Motley Crue video. What the fuck are we doing? Like, are we going to build this shit into a better world, or are we going to sit there and have fucking homeless people eating out of the same trash can that other homeless people shit in as a toilet? What's up, America? And I know what it is, because the rest of the world will say, well, surely we're going to do the first. And the billionaires say, no, you're going to be eating out of the shitty trash can. Because fuck you. Eat my shit. We're rich. You're poor. That's what they say. And if you don't believe it, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but that's what it is. So your future was stolen from you. Those years you'll never get back. Those years you'll never get back. And the best I can surmise is sometime around when the movie The Matrix series started fucking up is when they started fucking with all our shit. That's correct. That is 100% correct, Travis. That's exactly what I fear. And instead of having a Frutiger Arrow world that's supposed to be a technological wonder, we are going into a world of dystopian iRobot shit. And it sickens me. It's fucking disturbing. And I don't know why people like this lifestyle. And they're like, oh no, these companies, they'll be good to us. No, they won't. They're fucking terrible. They're terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And they already hold all the wealth. The top 3,000 people hold 95% of the money. I understand working hard and making a lot of money and all this other shit. But these motherfuckers are absolutely evil, and they don't need to be stripped of their wealth. They need to be incentivized to reinvest in the United States. That's all it is. Incentivized to reinvest in the United States. And as soon as they do that, then we will have a much better time. And if they can't do that, then our world will still be in a pile of shit. It's Saturday, my guys. Mm-hmm. You know, I went to the dentist, and it still hurts in between my teeth. Really? Yeah. From where they dug or something? I've been digging in it. Oh, well, stop digging it. Stop digging it? Well, it hurts. New video sheds light on the night Jeffrey Epstein died when guards were seen not doing their rounds. Interesting. Huh. Well, that's fucked up, isn't it? And a lot of the movie news that's going on here today is celebrity news. Obviously, Buffy the Vampire Slayer star Nicholas Brendan. He died. Who else died today? Chuck Norris died yesterday. That was sad as fuck. Yeah, that sucks. And so it's been one of those days. We've lost a lot of celebrities. Never the bad ones, is it? You know what I mean? Never the bad ones. Somehow the ones that are on the Epstein files are all still alive. Yeah. Illinois Governor Pritzker says Trump officials who broke the law must be criminally prosecuted. Threatens to go after them even if you can't criminally prosecute them. I'm wondering what J.P. Pritzker's stance is when it comes to weed tax. So I don't get to Illinois very often, right? It's been, Afro Man's case, that was hilarious. By the way, shout out to Afro Man as I smoke this weed with concentrate in it and your song fucking Lemon Pound Cake. Shout out to Afro Man for mocking those fucking corrupt pile of shit cops. That was hilarious. Every bit of that. Quasimodo call. Oh my God, that was... So a while ago, cops broke into Afro Man's house in Ohio. What's up, America? Mixing concrete by hand. We had to wait for the shit. Oh, what's up, America? How you doing? That's fucking tough. Really? Holy fuck, dude. How much? Like a little or a lot? Anyway, so apparently cops came in saying that there was a bunch of crimes going on. They went in. There was video of a cop looking at a pound cake like he wanted it. I guess they took money illegally, rifled through his shit, flipped him off on the cameras. Bunch of illegal shit. A bunch of illegal shit. So, Afro Man made a bunch of music videos mocking the police officers by name and the county police department. Talking about the Adams County Police can't suck my dick, that kind of shit. Made fun of his wife, saying that he was fucking their wives, all that shit. Well, the police sued Afro Man because they said, well, because of these songs, they can't go in public. Made him cry, all this other shit. Well, a judge didn't see it that way and saw that Afro Man had protected speech, and the lawyers were basically mocking the cops to their faces. So then Afro Man won over $3 million. And so that's that. So the lawsuit that the cops put on Afro Man turned into the county paying him $3 million or more. And him having hits on YouTube and Spotify now. Plus merch sales. Yep. There you go. And that's what happens. It's not 1955 anymore. So, because he got high, that's right. Oh, they asked him. They even asked him. They were like, your song, because the prosecutor, because your song, because it got high, why did you say that? And he's like, because I got high. And that was it. That's what he said. He's like, so you smoke marijuana? He's like, yes, sir. And he has this big afro with the fucking skins coming down. Oh my God, dude, this dude was like a champ. It reminds me of those fucking like early 70s fucking like blackumentary dudes, or those fucking Black Power films. Oh my God, dude. Holy fucking shit. That was hilarious. Like he's walking and he's like trying to shake the afro and shit like that, wearing an American flag suit. I'm dead serious. He came to court with a suit and pants and tie, all American flags. Yeah, that's what he came to court wearing. I was like, wow. Oh my God. Oh, no shit. Yeah, I used to bless Afro. Isn't it great, Nana? My wife knows the song quite well, too, don't you? Oh my God.
That song.
Huh?
I love that song.
Yeah, that's a good song. So shout out to Afro Man. You are the king. Always have been, always was. Nobody's going to get you down. That's how we do business. Fuck the dumb shit. Suck a dick if they don't like it. That's what it is. Anyway, let's move on. That was a fun case, even though it should have never happened. But hey, now I can go get high with that $3 million.
That's right.
So I would suggest, if you're in the Cincinnati area, the Nectar on the southwest side, or there's a place out by Jungle Gems east that was called what? The Woods?
The Forest.
The Forest. That's another good recreational store. The Forest in Cincinnati on the east side, or Nectar in the center there. They're all classy establishments. None of that clown bullshit. Very fantastic. If he, oh dude, I would love, that would be hilarious. He called it fucking Afro Man's Dispensary, and he had it like 2 fucking blocks away from the sheriff's department. And so every day there's people they're driving by, blasting Afro Man, buying weed that has his face with an American flag suit on it. Yeah, I can see that. So Afro Man, good job. I'm going to do one more thing and then I'm going to get off here. I want to know what you think about homelessness being made illegal. That's what the state of Indiana has done in several other states. They have made camping outside or the act of being homeless a criminal offense. And they can, they turned CVS into a dispensary. Yeah, I'm in Indiana. I don't get that fucking luxury. What was I talking about?
Homelessness.
Oh, so the state of Indiana said that if you're homeless, you'll go to jail. Now, here's the situation. Mike Braun, the governor of Mike Braun, the governor of Indiana, is stating he's got a 25% approval rating. Most of our government in Indiana is a pile of shit. So we have what's called a rhino corporate government. So we have like the 3rd highest gas taxes in the nation. Eli Lilly controls our government with a couple other politicians, companies, and no matter what you do, that's what you had to tread in. The governor in the state of Indiana could have legalized weed and made taxes to pay for the roads. Instead, they put a wheel tax on and a driving tax and every tax you can think of. And now they're going to put a toll road on I-70 that's going to cost $15 to drive through the state. So they're just going to fuck everybody in the entire planet. On top of that, the city of Indianapolis is a destroyed dystopian shithole. The roads look like West Africa in many cases. How do I know that? Because I drive around. Goddamn, I'll make a video on it. It is fucking absolute pathetic. The city of Indianapolis is pathetic. An embarrassment. The roads on the south side, the west side, east side, downtown, pathetic. They are getting rid of the Circle Center Mall. The downtown Indianapolis will be a construction zone for 5 years. I am 44 years old. The city has never been not a job site. It is nothing but a job site. It is never ending. It's done on purpose. The roads are slow walked in order to get more money from the government. It's a corrupt nightmare. Nobody gives a fuck. The people have no referendum voting. And even though 75% of people want weed, the government votes 75% against it. There's 3 or 4 companies that have all the power. And I do not recommend coming to Indiana or Indianapolis. If you have a business, I would leave the city or state and never come back. I would move. Doesn't have to be a red or a blue state. Go to Montana. I suggest we leave Indiana and all go to Montana. I suggest we go. Both had to stop to slow over huge potholes. Yeah, it's ridiculous. My front suspension is fucked because of them. And if you put a call in, they'd have to investigate it and shit. It would take a year to get it. Am I right? Mm-hmm. So the city's a joke. The state's a joke. The Indiana's not interested in freedom. Indiana will not even discuss decriminalizing weed. They won't even discuss it because we have private prison obligations. So in Indiana, they will not even talk about decriminalizing weed. No, shut it down in committee. Not allowed to talk about it. Eli Lilly lobbyists are in the room. They might get upset. So because Eli Lilly lobbyists are there, then yeah. Well, we might as well stiffen the penalties, actually, even though all states around us have weed. So I can buy weed in Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, and I can get medical weed in Kentucky. But here in Indiana, it's a crime. So who's wrong then? Indiana's wrong. And then you have marijuana. We have to address marijuana in Indiana. 13 hours ago, Governor Braun says reform possible on state cannabis laws. Well, get to it, dumb fuck. Indiana, all neighboring states have legalized cannabis, and now Mike Braun is taking notice. He shared more about his stance on medical use. I'm kind of an agnostic, but when you got 4 states surrounding you, you're probably going to have to address it. Yeah, no shit. There are plenty of advocates. There are 10,000 people arrested every year in Indiana for possessing weed. So I would like politicians to tell me exactly how does that benefit Indiana from arresting all those people. It doesn't, which is why I don't follow the law, ever. Research shows that legalized cannabis results in fewer arrests. In 2019, the Marion County Prosecutor's Office announced it would refuse to file charges against possessions of less than an ounce, honey. So they don't give a fuck. In Indianapolis. Oh. So in Marion County, if you have an ounce or less, they're like, we're not prosecuting you. What the fuck? Other proponents of legalized cannabis have stressed therapeutics. A survey at Ball State said that 60% want medical and recreational, 74% want medical. Turning Point Cloud, no, I have not. Unlike some other states, Indiana does not allow its citizens to add initiatives to the ballot. So the path to cannabis only lies in the General Assembly. I told you. Legislators and lobbyists have attempted to legalize, but Republican supermajority has resisted every call. I would hope that state legislators would wake up and start doing something about this. Says, I wish Governor Braun would push it. Even if Governor Braun pushes it, they're not going to do anything because the politicians in Indiana get gifts to say no from Eli Lilly. And I don't know why Eli Lilly pushes so hard. Eli Lilly pushes so hard because they're like, well, we don't want. It's like, but who gives a fuck what you want? Suck a dick, Eli Lilly. Anyway. Braun says he'll have to address it, and Indiana keeps bucking the law, tightening related laws instead. So Indiana says legalize supporters are wanting Indiana to legalize it. Indiana legislation keeps tightening laws. So even though people in Indiana want legal weed, the legislature's doing the exact opposite. Indiana legislators are proposing laws that would tighten state laws on Delta 8 and crack down on advertisements for marijuana in neighboring states. Well, there's their brain there. Indiana officials are sticking their heads in the sand and refusing to hear anything. Indiana is among only 10 states that doesn't either allow medical or recreational. Indiana is on the wrong side of history. Trump declassified marijuana to a level 3, but that didn't stop Indiana State House from a renewed campaign against marijuana, saying, I think President Trump needs to sign another bill decriminalizing it. The expected federal change hasn't altered anti-legalization Republicans who voted against, who've alongside Schedule 1 as concerns, and now saying they just don't want to move forward with it. It didn't actually affect any change. We're continuing the same conversations we've had for 10 years, says marijuana advocates. The continued opposition has led activist Heath Van whatever of Kokomo to decide against filing marijuana legislation because it's not going to happen anyway. 74% of the legislatures in Indiana are against marijuana, while 60 to 75% of the state wants legal marijuana in some case. The government of Indiana has rebuffed Hoosier Veterans for Medical Cannabis in January, as well as Secretary Mike Speedy, as well as Governor Braun and Marine Corps drill instructor, last name Stalker, saying that marijuana was better than the painkiller Oxycontin. Eli Lilly disagrees. Therefore, it will remain illegal. Braun has not taken any stance. I've been waiting for 3 governors to do something, and nobody does shit. There's a lot of state legislatures that are supporting. Legislatures are now pushing for tighter laws, trying to close loopholes for Delta 8 and CBD oil and make arrests for CBD. Senate Bill 220 moves on the House to further the action, to criminalize and ban THC products within 1,000 feet of a school advertising or selling it, going back to the same laws in the 1990s. So Indiana's so stupid that we're going back to weed laws from the 90s. So this is literally the dumbest state in the nation. There is no dumber state than Indiana, ever. The government here are the most corrupt, vile, human pieces of shit. And there is absolutely nothing that Indiana will do to stop me from buying weed and smoking it when every state around us does it. If you arrest me, I will move to a legal state and get it transferred over there to negate your law. That I will dead up do that. If I get fucked with for weed, I will move to Ohio and I will get that transferred to Ohio where they don't have a law for it. Fuck you. I will do everything in my power to make sure that I do not have to face a consequence for any weed whatsoever. You can mark my words, because I hate the state corrupt government. If every state around me has legal weed of some kind and we don't, we're clearly the problem. And if anybody tells me I'm in the wrong when our state is one of the few that does this, it is shit for brains mentality. I don't care if it's bad. It doesn't matter if it's bad for me or you. It matters that you don't tell me what to do, fuckface. That's the difference. That's the end of the shrubbery maze. It doesn't matter the health, the fucking ramifications financially, the tax base, the financial, none of it means anything. It's all blibbity blob, gobbledygook horse shit. What it is you are a totalitarian. You want to control people because you're a fucking masochist or a fucking sadist. Something's wrong with you. You have a religious veneration in legislature, which you shouldn't. And if you say you should, that's wonderful, but keep it to yourself. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. I believe that Jesus resurrected on the 3rd day, and he ascended to heaven, and he'll judge the fucking wicked from the dead. That's the realities, and that's the truth. But I'm not going to say to make law over it when it comes to weed. Go fuck yourself. Clearly, you're only doing it to fucking prop up the necessities of a contractual obligation from a fucking private prison. That's why you have been so tight on the laws. That's because you can't arrest enough people for crimes legitimately for the contract that you made. Therefore, you're doing that for profit and for obligation only. It's time you either revisit that or stop listening to Eli Lilly fucking lobbyists. And this is the problem. It's not even your government, which it is the problem. But lobbying needs to be illegal. Lobbyists should be a criminal offense. Lobbying is legalized corruption. And the fact that lobbyists exist is why states like Indiana look the way they are and are the way they are. And you say, well, why is Indiana behind 30 years? The reason Indiana is behind 30 years is because the government is in bed with corporations that when it comes to profit making and when it comes to fucking people for money as a tool, they're behind 30 years. It's 1992 in Indiana and it's never changed. And it's not going to change unless you throw them all out. Some of these people in the Indiana government have been in the Indiana government since I was 7 years old. I'm 44 years old, okay? Some of these people, I remember hearing the names when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, and then now they're still here. Why are you here? No. Fuck you, right? You're not a fucking staple. You don't have a right. Eat shit. Get the fuck out of my goddamn government. You have been in I've been a congressman for 28 years. Yes, that's a problem. That's why it's been fucked up for 28 years. You're part of the problem, you dick sucker. That's the problem. Get the fuck out of my government. Well, no, fuck you. Eat shit. Get the fuck out. We don't want you. You're garbage. You sell people out for money. You're a piece of shit. Right? Get the fuck out before we used to run people like you out on a rail with pitchforks and torches. Goddamn rotten vegetables. We'd throw it at you. We'd throw fucking rotten goddamn tomatoes and cabbage at you. Yeah, that's right. Hi. Yeah, I'm almost done. Where are they at?
Emily's in the bath and my legs.
Well, anyway, that's about what's going on here. It's been, one of those days. It's one of those days. So, light news day is what it is. By the way, don't forget to subscribe if you're here or new here, whatever. Thumbs up if you can. Follow me on TikTok, by the way. Sup America and Sup America 2 on TikTok. Those are also, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, Sup America. I've had like 3,200 for a very long time. They don't let you grow, and I don't try. So, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. So, yeah. I don't know what to say. I wish I could play music. I wish we could play games. I could do gaming, but that's my other channel, Wu Tai 1 Nostalgia. Follow me, my gaming channel, and my aesthetic channel, or at least it will be coming up. Wu Tai 1 Nostalgia, WUTAII 1 Nostalgia, or at Nostalgia Man. I do have a YouTube play button, but I'm not monetized. Thank you, Nana. And I am losing subscribers significantly because I don't I put up content here. I put up content on TikTok on 2 pages. And I just I don't know why I don't do it. I just don't have time really, do I? I'm trying my best, but
You still have to upload a bunch of shit on this.
yeah, I have to upload a bunch on here. I'm trying my damnedest, you know what I'm saying? But that's what it is. Maybe I'll just take the videos off here and put them on the computer. That seemed to work a lot better because I get upload like 15 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But goddamn though. Anyway, so yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, if you're rich, Cash App and Venmo me down there in the bottom. What is it again? That's my cat. Oh, American Unity Party. I should probably change that to Sup America, shouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, Cash App and Venmo, American Unity Party, and follow me on all those platforms. Yeah, that's what it is. So I'll put some videos of Israel. Thank you, Albania. I'll put some videos of Israel being attacked on TikTok. Thank you, Albania. And I have a merch store on my profile page. But I've got at least one more video to put on TikTok and some archaeology videos because that's where it is. So, yeah, follow me all those places. Just look for Sup America. You can find me. If you don't like me, block me and go fuck yourself. I will be back tomorrow.